This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking this midday, gunfire on the west side of Indianapolis and a serious crash at an intersection. We now know that a woman is dead, a man is in the hospital, and this is where this all went down just after 9:30 this morning. This is the intersection of 34th and Lafayette Road. Police tell us 4 vehicles were involved in this crash, and that intersection remains closed while police are on the scene. IMPD officers say it appears to have started with gunshots.
We have one confirmed adult female who has been shot. She was transported to the hospital and she succumbed to her injuries there and passed away at the hospital. We have one male who was transported from this accident and he is at the hospital now in serious condition.
If police confirm that this is a homicide, it will be the 34th in Indianapolis so far this year. As of now, Metro Police have not released any other details about this shooting, including where those gunshots came from. They also have not released any information about a possible suspect. Once we get all that information, we will have it for you right here on RTV6 and at theindychannel.com. We do want to take a turn now and check in on the weather. A foggy Tuesday out there, Todd. Thankfully, that rain has stopped, and now we're just dealing with the cloud cover.
Yeah, the clouds are in place, and those two should start to thin out a little bit and break apart a little bit as we work our way throughout the day. You have to be patient, though. I really don't think they break apart all that much until closer to sunset, which is a little after 6 o'clock. Temperatures here this morning range from 37 in Lafayette, 36, and tipped into 41 in Bloomington. We've already hit our highs for the day today, and this colder air continues to make its way into central Indiana throughout the afternoon hours, although we should hold pretty steady going forward throughout the remainder of the day today. But here's the view to the north, and you notice a few bright spots here and there, but by far we're still dealing with overcast skies as the front continues to work through. And don't be surprised as this front continues to slide through if there's a sprinkle and or a flurry in your neighborhood, but it's nothing more than that, and it won't last very long. In fact, here are the clearer skies in western Illinois that get in here later on this evening. Now, the good news is once the clear skies do arrive, they're with us for several days, but for the next few hours at least, we have overcast skies and temperatures holding pretty steady. If you have plans this evening, should be down to right around 33 degrees by 10 p.m. We'll talk more about your extended forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. Indigo is getting ready to roll out route changes that will impact every rider that uses their transit system. But before those changes take effect, they want to hear from you. Right now, the Downtown Transit Center is the hub of Indigo's system. It's where most riders make their transfers. But with the new grid system, you'll be able to transfer in more locations across the city. Indigo says the change is a long time coming and will be making riding the buses easier and more convenient.
The goal is to create a more frequent network so that you have to plan a little less around your commute to get around Indy.
Tonight is the last chance for you to give your opinion and feedback about the proposed change. The public hearing starts tonight at 5:30 at Indigo headquarters on West Washington Street. The feedback will then be presented to the Indigo Board of Directors at the end of the month. The changes are scheduled to take effect in June. The next presidential debate is tomorrow in Nevada, and it's notable because it is the first to include the billionaire who is rising in national polls. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg qualified for the debate, even though he is not on the ballot for this weekend's Nevada caucuses. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi tells us Bloomberg will likely be targeted by former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg and especially frontrunner Bernie Sanders.
Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg will take the debate stage for the first time tomorrow. The billionaire businessman qualifying for the Las Vegas event after a new NPR PBS poll released this morning showed him polling well above the 10% threshold needed and surpassing Joe Biden among Democrat and Democratic-leaning independent voters.
Michael Bloomberg, with $62 billion, can buy every ad he wants, but he can't, in fact, wipe away his record on everything from dealing with stop and frisk to his foreign policy.
It's a moment his 2020 rivals have been waiting for, many of whom have already criticized Bloomberg for spending $381 million plus of his own money blanketing the airwaves with ads.
I can't beat him on the airwaves, but I can beat him on the debate stage.
Bloomberg releasing a new online ad just yesterday, taking aim at frontrunner Bernie Sanders, accusing his campaign of fostering negative energy. Sanders firing back, bringing up Bloomberg's support for New York's controversial stop and frisk policy. A policy Bloomberg said in a recently released 2015 audio was aimed at putting, quote, a lot of cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. Bloomberg has since apologized for the policy's impact.
You are certainly not going to win when you have a record in New York City that included racist policies like stop and frisk.
Nevada's diverse population is also a big factor in this upcoming contest, with now a major grassroots Latino group backing Sanders with their first ever presidential endorsement. Mona Kosarabdi, ABC News, Washington.
On Election Day, the polls close in Indiana earlier than any other state in this presidential election year. That's not going to change. A state Senate committee rejected a proposal from Democrats that would have added 2 more hours of voting, keeping polls open until 8 o'clock. Opponents say it would cost too much to keep the polls open past 6 p.m. on election days. They also say that with early voting in place, there should be plenty of time for people to cast a ballot. This year marks 50 years since the creation of the Indiana Black Expo, and they are making plans for celebrations all year long. Today, IBE announced a series of events, including part of the lineup for its flagship event, the Summer Celebration in July. This year's free concert outdoors at American Legion Mall will feature some legendary names of soul and R&B.
Keith Sweat, Stephanie Mills, Johnny Gill, and Elle DeBarge. We are looking forward to having a fun evening with our community and our out-of-town guests. Pray for dry and beautiful weather.
The Black Expo will also hold a 50th anniversary gala as part of the summer celebration. That will replace the concert that usually is held at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. The Fieldhouse will be undergoing renovation work this summer. Decades, Faith No More is coming back to Central Indiana. The 1990s grunge stars are touring with Korn, another iconic band from the 90s, this summer. They will play at Ruoff Music Center on Saturday, September 12th. Pre-sale tickets are already available, but they will go on sale to the general public this Friday. Still awaiting a verdict in the Harvey Weinstein trial. Next, an update from Court TV as the jury in the sexual assault case begins its deliberation. And they teach boys to be thrifty, but now their parent organization is headed to bankruptcy court. We'll show you the reason why and whether it will impact our local Boy Scout troops. Todd.
And Meredith, we've been dealing with cloudy skies for several days across central Indiana, but brighter days are ahead. Unfortunately, as the sun comes out, the temperatures are going to be dropping. We'll talk all about the rest of your forecast for this work week and look ahead to the weekend as well, coming up in just a few minutes. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
Case of Homes every Sunday morning at 11:30.
I'm Ted Rollins. Today on Court TV, we are on verdict watch in the Harvey Weinstein rape trial. After 17 days and 35 witnesses, jurors are starting the deliberation process today. Prosecutors say Weinstein is a sexual predator, while the defense argued that all of his encounters were consensual. If found guilty, Harvey Weinstein could spend the rest of his life in prison. We're also covering the Ice Cream Man murder trial in Tampa, Florida. Michael Keatley is accused of double murder and 4 counts of attempted murder in what prosecutors alleged was a revenge-fueled shooting spree on Thanksgiving morning back in 2010. A ballistics expert testified Monday that the shells and bullets recovered from the crime scene matched evidence found at Keatley's home.
And we were able to arrive at an opinion or conclusion as to whether or not that spent shell casing found that the pastor at the Keatley residence was fired from the same weapon as the 10 casings from the crime scene, or a different weapon than that fired the 10 casings at the crime scene.
Yes, I was.
What was your opinion in that regard?
It was fired in the same firearm as the other 10.
We'll have continuing coverage of both trials, including, of course, the Weinstein verdict if it comes down throughout the day on Court TV. Now back to you.
Ted, thanks. You can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com. It's a group that provides support when people need it the most. Ahead, more about an organization where your help goes to those who've lost a loved one in the line of duty. And we're taking a live look right now at downtown. View to the west, a cloudy Tuesday out there. Meteorologist Todd Clausen will let us know when those clouds are going to fill out and thin out, that is, and if we'll see any sunshine later today. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6.
Keller and Keller.
Trouble today for the Boy Scouts of America. The national organization has filed for bankruptcy protection as it faces a wave of sexual abuse lawsuits against current and former Scoutmasters. According to its website, the Scouts filed Chapter 11 to, in its words, equitably compensate victims who were harmed during their time in Scouting. Local Boy Scout councils are not filing for bankruptcy, however, as they are legally separate and distinct organizations. Here at 12:15 on your Tuesday, we're taking a live look over Bloomington. Cloud cover there. Cloud cover everywhere in central Indiana right now. Are we going to see any sunshine today, Todd?
You know, as we get closer to sunset, I think we'll start to work some of it here into central Indiana. It's going to be a bit of a process. Bloomington, probably one of the last places to see it, as we'll start to see it develop from north to south across the area. Here's another look from downtown to the north, and you do notice the clouds starting to thin in spots there and a little bit of a brightening in the sky, and that trend again will continue this afternoon. The temperature sits at 38 degrees right now. The winds are out of the northwest at 12 miles per hour, so that's a drier wind direction. So we've gotten rid of the fog, we've gotten rid of the drizzle that we had earlier in the day, but this is a cool wind direction, and that's going to really prevent our temperatures from warming much more throughout the remainder of the day. Still holding on to a few 40s here from Connersville to Columbus down into the Bloomington area, but 37 in Lafayette. So when we have those northwesterly winds, that's the direction the wind is coming from. So when you look back to our northwest, you see that temperatures are in the 30s. So that's exactly what you can expect as we progress throughout the remainder of the day. As far as temperatures go, here's the hour-by-hour breakdown. We've already hit our high for the day today. It occurred shortly after midnight when we were close to 50 degrees. We'll be right around 40 here through 5 p.m. And then as the skies really start to clear out, that's when the temperatures will fall back down to right around freezing as we approach the midnight hour. As far as Storm Team 6 radar, picking up a few returns on the eastern side of the state, and it's not out of the question that you could see a sprinkle or a quick passing shower from Muncie to Richmond down to Greensburg, but most of us will remain dry as this front makes its way through the area. But the entire state still has the overcast sky. But here's the clearing line making its way into western Illinois, and that will continue now from west to east across the state. And TrueCast picks up on this once we get towards the sunset, and sunset now, it's getting later and later. It's a little after 6 o'clock. You notice the clouds starting to break apart, and by 7:30, 8 o'clock, sky should be mainly clear. And once that happens, we are going to keep the skies clear for several days in a row, giving us a nice break from the dreary conditions and a nice stretch of sunny weather for us. Now, temperatures this evening, as I mentioned, will fall back down into the 30s. Tomorrow, while it's going to be bright and the February sun's not bad, it starts to feel a little better if you're in the sun compared to the shade. We're still below normal with a high of only right around 35 to 36 degrees. Fast forward to Thursday, a high of only 29 degrees with temperatures starting in the teens. So we do have several cooler days ahead, and then let's jump over Friday into the weekend, and you notice the temperatures do start to moderate back into the 40s. And so this weekend is looking decent, although we may have to throw some showers into the forecast on Sunday. But there's that nice stretch of weather Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and even into Saturday with those dry conditions. Meredith?
Todd, thank you. For every member of law enforcement that serves and protects, there are family members standing in support. The group, COPS, better known as Concerns of Police Survivors, provides services to families who've lost an officer in the line of duty. And joining me this midday are Cynthia Winzenreed and Emily Nimitz. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. You have both lost loved ones, your husbands, in the line of duty. Yours more recently, you were just telling me, coming up on the 7-month mark. Yeah. You lost your husband in 1997. So tell me a little bit about your journeys and why COPS is so vital in the healing process.
Want me to go first or you?
It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, Indiana COPS has kind of just taken us in, like I was just telling you. You know, I came from South Florida, and Benji was actually killed in South Florida. So I didn't really have any ties here or anything like that. I met her literally right after I got off the plane, after handling our affairs in Florida, I pulled up into the driveway and she came in and introduced herself and the organization. So they've been there since almost the beginning. It's just been a great amount of support. I was telling you, I'm very blessed with the amount of support that I've received, not just from Indiana cops, but Fishers Police Department. I have people in Florida, California, everywhere, just, showing a tremendous amount of love and support for us. When it comes to cops, they are not just there. I can tell you she's there all the time. She's always just a text message away from me, but they're not just there for the support of, we know what you've been through, we know what you've experienced, but they've been there to help me with forms, which I got to tell you, forms are just...
And that's not what's top of mind in a moment like this, right?
Yeah, they've had their liaison officer from Carmel Police Department, Blake Lytle. He swooped in and helped me with all my forms. I started a foundation for my husband in honor of him. They've swooped in and, kind of opened different doors for me to meet different people. So it's just been... It's been a bridge to different areas of the whole process. And the great thing about it is that it's not just for spouses. It's open to my in-laws, to my sister-in-law,
siblings,
siblings, co-workers, Benji's co-workers. It's open to everybody. You know, so I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you kind of feel like. Initially, you feel like you're in this alone. Then you start meeting different people, and you're not in this alone.
And it's a club that no one ever wants to be a part of.
She told me.
But you have been a member of it for years now. Talk to me a little bit about just what you are doing currently and how you hope to never have more members, but unfortunately that's the world we live in today. So tell me a little bit about how you're helping people currently.
Well, I'll tell you how I came about her too. And the day that she had lost her husband, Tracy Jones got a hold of me because she is one of the Fishers police officers that worked with Benji. And she already knew about the organization, so she contacted me and said, can you help? And that was the day that it happened. And so we were able to go back and forth a little bit and get some information about her. She was able to give me her phone number, so I just sent her a text and said, hey, we're thinking about you. And then in time, of course, then we make better contact and we talk to each other. I also was able to get a hold of Florida, and because COPS isn't just here in Indiana, COPS is national, and we're all underneath the same umbrella. And since I do a spouses retreat, I knew a lady down in Florida that is Florida COPS, and I was able to contact her to see what was going on with the Florida COPS and how, they've proceeded in that process as well. So, so it's not just Indiana. It's amazing. And like she said, it's not just the spouses, it's the parents, it's the siblings, it's co-workers, it's the whole group, because unfortunately there's a loss of an officer, and it's a loss that's all different for each avenue.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, ladies, we have run out of time. The information is on your screen. That is where people can donate money, learn more if this is something that they think they would like to get involved in. I appreciate you both coming and chatting with me so very much. Wish we could talk more because this is such a wonderful organization. We will be right back after this commercial break.
800-850-5054.
All right, it's time for the pet of the week, and Colleen is here with Platypus, and tell us all about Platypus, a big white dog for you here today.
He's a gentle giant. He is 2 years old. He actually was a cruelty confiscation from IACS, so he transferred to our shelter after IACS had him. But he is honestly just the sweetest boy. He loves toys. He doesn't even have to have a harness on because he walks on a leash perfectly.
There you go.
He's just a sweetheart.
And he sat here perfect, just like this, through the weather forecast, through the last interview, through the commercial. He hasn't moved. So he is available right away, $175. And so if you would like this big guy Platypus, who is just calm as can be and likes his treats, at the Humane Society and pick him up. Quick look at your 7-day planning forecast. Shows sunshine returning tomorrow, and then we keep the sunshine all the way into the weekend, which is always good news.
Todd, thank you. You and Platypus, calm, cool, and collected. Thanks for joining us here at the News at Noon. We hope you have a great afternoon.